My fiancé got too close to a coworker and called me by his name before our big gala. I walked out, canceled everything, and later told her parents the truth. They were furious at her, cut her off, and still treat me like their favorite even though the engagement is over. You think your mom will want to sit next to my boss or the CFO? Claire asked, flipping through the seating chart on her laptop. We could put her near the dessert table. She always goes nuts for tiramisu. I smiled at that. As long as she doesn't bring up her famous Jonas was born crying and never stopped story, I don't care where she sits. Claire laughed, brushing her hair behind her ear as she leaned over the table. The whole living room was a mess of note cards, wine glasses, and sample name tags. Planning this gala had practically become a second job. I was 30 years old, a structural engineer by trade, but lately it felt like I was moonlighting as a party planner. Between my firm's award ceremony and our upcoming wedding, my calendar was a stack of checklists. Claire looked up from her laptop and smiled. You're being so calm about this. Evan would be freaking out over the color of the tablecloths. I blinked. Evan. She froze. Just for a second. But I caught it. Her eyes widened, and then she forced a quick laugh. Oh my God, I meant you. I meant Jonas. Sorry. It's just, my brain is fried. You know how often I talk to Evan at work. Right. I set my pen down. It's nothing, she said quickly. Seriously, I've just been juggling too much. Evan and I are always bouncing campaign ideas around, so his name's probably just stuck in my head. I nodded slowly. She was talking fast now, too fast. That weird, breathless tone she got when she felt cornered. My stomach tightened, but I didn't say anything. Because the truth was, this wasn't the first time his name had come up. Late-night texts, dumb little jokes I didn't understand. A stupid heart emoji next to his name when I glanced at her phone a few weeks ago. Back then, I told myself I was overthinking. But now she'd called me Evan to my face. She went back to the laptop, pretending to be unfazed. Anyway, I was thinking gold name cards instead of silver. Looks cleaner. I murmured something in agreement, but I wasn't listening. My chest felt hollow. Was she really just stressed? Or was this something more? I didn't ask. I didn't want to fight. Not right then. But in the back of my mind, a quiet, terrible thought settled in. Maybe she wasn't in love with me. Maybe she was marrying me because I was safe, reliable, a promotion in human form. I stared at her across the table and saw her differently. Same smile, same soft voice, but the trust? That was cracked now, and I wasn't sure it could be fixed. The gala was 10 days away, 150 people, over 15 grand spent, and every single one of them expected to see me up there in a tux, shaking hands and smiling as I accepted my firm's Excellence in Design award. It was supposed to be a big deal, something I'd worked toward for almost a decade. I should have felt proud, but all I felt was numb. Claire was in the kitchen humming to herself, holding up 2 different dresses for my opinion, one navy, one emerald green. I feel like this one's more formal, but the other one pops better in pictures. What do you think? She asked. I glanced up from the couch. Whatever you want. She gave me a look. Wow, you're enthusiastic today. Just tired, I said, rubbing my eyes. She gave a soft smile and walked over, placing her hand on my shoulder. You've been working so hard lately. It's okay to be stressed, you know. Stressed. That was her word for everything now. Anytime something didn't feel right, it was stress. She forgot to text me back one night. Stress. Called me by another man's name. Stress. It was becoming her blanket excuse. Meanwhile, my mind wouldn't shut off. I kept replaying that moment. Evan. She called me Evan. I didn't have proof of anything concrete, but that didn't matter anymore. Trust wasn't just about evidence. It was about feeling safe with someone. And right now, I didn't. The worst part? She was acting like nothing had happened. She'd gone into full sparkle mode, excited about her hair appointment, debating heels, reminding me to get my suit pressed. Like we were still just a happy couple counting down to a big night. But something between us had shifted. It was quiet and invisible, but it was there. Every smile she gave me felt rehearsed. Every love you felt like she was hitting her lines in a script we both knew by heart. And me? I stopped sleeping. I'd lie awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering if she ever looked at Evan the way she used to look at me. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I didn't cancel the gala, either. Too many people involved. Too many eyes watching. So I played along. But behind the scenes, I started thinking. Planning. Because if she wasn't really in this with me, then I had no business standing beside her on that stage. By the following week, I'd mastered the art of disappearing without ever leaving the room. I told Claire I was slammed with a last-minute structural review for a hospital project. It wasn't a total lie. I'd picked up extra work to stay late at the office. But the truth was, I just didn't want to be home. At night, I came in late, quiet, exhausted. I barely touched dinner. We stopped watching our usual show together. I stopped asking about her day. Claire noticed. Of course she did. Is something wrong? She asked one night while folding laundry on the bed. You've been acting weird lately. I told you, I'm buried in deadlines. She stared at me, trying to read my face. This isn't just work. You barely talk to me anymore. I shrugged. I'm tired. I could feel her searching for something in my voice, some crack, some opening. But I gave her nothing. Because what was I supposed to say? That I didn't trust her? That every time she smiled, I wondered who she was really thinking about? Instead, I focused on my new project, the exit plan. While she was out meeting a florist for the table arrangements, I started quietly packing a bag. Just the essentials, clothes, my laptop, documents. I moved slowly, carefully, slipping things into a small duffel and tucking it in the back of my closet under a pile of old coats. I wasn't ready to explode my life. Not yet. But I knew one thing. I couldn't go through with the gala. I couldn't walk across that stage with her clapping in the front row, pretending we were still perfect. The night of the rehearsal dinner, Claire dressed in a cream dress and heels, spinning in front of the mirror. Do you think this is too much for a rehearsal? She asked, laughing. I didn't answer. I was already walking toward the door with my bag in hand. I didn't tell her where I was going. I didn't leave a note. I just left. While she toasted with my colleagues and charmed my mentors, I was pulling out of the apartment parking garage, my phone already on silent. My brother, Derek, texted me when I didn't show. You okay? I replied with one word, handle it. And he did. Because he knew something had gone wrong, even if I wasn't ready to explain it yet. That night, I didn't sleep in my bed. I didn't look back. I just drove and kept driving, away from the apartment, away from the life I was supposed to celebrate, and straight toward the silence I knew I needed. I pulled off the highway just after 7 in the morning, the sun still low behind the trees. My parents' place was quiet, tucked away in a patch of woods outside of Albany. No traffic, no neighbors, just long stretches of gravel and silence. I let myself in with the spare key under the mat, dropped my bag in the guest room, and collapsed onto the twin bed I hadn't slept in since college breaks. My body felt like lead, but my mind was wired. I kept hearing Claire's voice in my head, rehearsing what she'd probably say when she realized I was gone. I'm sure something's come up. He's probably on his way. He's just stuck in traffic. He must be. But I wasn't stuck. I was exactly where I chose to be. Around 10, I left my phone on the nightstand, screen down, and walked outside. Just paced the yard. My hands shook with adrenaline I couldn't seem to shake. The air smelled like pine and wet earth. It should have been calming. It wasn't. I kept picturing the gala, imagining the string quartet playing as people filtered in, waiters in black vests passing hors d'oeuvres, a slideshow of our team's projects playing on loop near the bar, and Claire, standing near the entrance in a champagne-colored dress, greeting people with a bright smile. Alone. At 11:30, I sent her a text. Just one line. I can't do this. Then I turned off my phone. Back at the event, from what I later heard, confusion set in fast. Claire stalled as long as she could, claiming I'd been caught in a site inspection emergency. Her voice wavered when she said it, but she held the line. For a while, people bought it. But then Derek stood up to give the opening remarks. He glanced around the room, cleared his throat, and announced that I wouldn't be joining. He didn't lie, didn't spin some excuse. He just said I needed time. The guests whispered, some with concern, some with raised eyebrows and barely masked judgment. Claire tried to keep her composure, but I knew her well enough to guess how fast she was unraveling inside. Her father, Victor, clean suit, silver cufflinks, permanently displeased, was furious. He hadn't just contributed money toward the gala, he'd bragged about it. Sold it to his country club friends like it was a polished business venture with his daughter as the dazzling future wife of an award-winning engineer. Now she was standing alone in front of the ballroom entrance, guests murmuring around her, vendors waiting for instructions she couldn't give. And me? I sat in my childhood bedroom, watching dust float through the sunlight, still in the t-shirt I'd slept in. I didn't check the messages piling up. I didn't turn on the news. I didn't want to see the photos. I just stared at the wall and let the silence wrap around me. It was over. I knew it, even if she didn't yet. It was almost midnight when I finally turned my phone back on. 42 missed calls. Claire, Derek, my mom, even my project manager, Glenn. A flood of texts, voicemails, and a few emails. All some variation of, where are you? Please call me. You can't just disappear. I scrolled until I saw Claire's last message. Please, just talk to me. I stared at it for a long time before calling her. She answered on the first ring. Jonas? Oh my God. Where are you? Are you okay? Her voice was sharp, breathless, half panic, half rage. I'm fine, I said. No, you're not fine. You missed everything. Do you have any idea what today was? What you put me through? I didn't respond. I just waited. You humiliated me, she said, her voice cracking now. I had to lie to over 100 people. My dad almost fired the caterers. Everyone was asking questions. My coworkers. Your boss. Jonas, what the hell happened? You called me Evan, I said quietly. Silence. I didn't just disappear for no reason, I added. You called me by his name. And that wasn't just some little slip. You've been texting him constantly, laughing at jokes I don't understand. There's a heart next to his name on your phone, Claire. That's not what you think, she said quickly. It's nothing like that. Then what is it? She was quiet again. Then she said, softer this time. He's just a friend. Work's been stressful. We got close. That's it. Too close, I said. It didn't mean anything. I swear. I felt my throat tighten. You didn't even realize you said his name. You didn't even notice. It was a mistake. I was tired. I've been running myself into the ground planning this thing. Your gala. Our wedding. You think that means I don't love you? I think you love the idea of me, I said. The career. The stability. The image. That's not fair. No, I said. It's not. She took a shaky breath. We can fix this. We're just under pressure. Let's talk, in person. Please. There's nothing left to fix, I said. Jonas. The gala's canceled. The engagement is canceled. I'm done pretending. She said nothing. I hope Evan knows how to plan a wedding, I added. That one hit. I could feel it in the way the silence thickened on the other end of the line. Goodbye, Claire. I hung up. My chest was tight, but not like before. It wasn't panic this time. It was clarity. I stood up, stretched, and finally, felt like I could breathe. The first time I saw my parents after I left Claire, it wasn't a phone call or an awkward text message. It was them showing up at my door, uninvited, with that familiar sense of entitlement. I hadn't even unpacked my bag when I heard the knock. I paused in the kitchen, holding a cold beer in my hand. I didn't rush to answer. I knew who it was before I even looked through the peephole. My mom had that knock, the one that meant she was here to fix everything, whether I wanted it fixed or not. I opened the door to find her standing there, hands on her hips. Dad was behind her, looking like he'd just woken up from a nap, as usual. His eyes barely met mine. Jonas, my mom said, her voice sharp but still with that sugary sweetness she thought would get her through this. We need to talk. I'm not interested, I said, leaning against the doorframe. Don't be like that, she insisted, pushing her way in before I had a chance to shut the door. This is ridiculous. You can't just walk away from everything. Your career, your future with Claire. You're acting out of anger. I didn't say anything. I just stepped aside, letting them in, but not inviting them any further. I wasn't in the mood for their drama. Dad settled onto the couch without a word. My mom glanced around the apartment, clearly making a mental note of the fact that I wasn't living in the penthouse Claire had always wanted. You can't just throw all this away, Mom said, her tone shifting from sugary sweet to something more desperate. This is a mistake. What happened at the gala, it wasn't just about you. You hurt Claire. She hurt me first, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I'm not going to pretend anymore. Jonas, she started, but I cut her off. You don't get to say anything. Not after everything. Dad finally spoke up. Son, we don't know what happened. You've been so distant. Claire loves you, okay? She was just stressed. We all make mistakes. I didn't just make a mistake, I said, the anger I had been holding back coming to the surface. I'm tired of being your backup plan, Mom. You don't get to sit there and act like everything's fine when you've watched me pay for all of Claire's little dreams. And when I stop, when I finally start taking care of myself, what do? You turn your back. My mom winced. You're being unfair. No, I said, taking a slow breath. What's unfair is how you've never asked me what I want. You've never once cared if I was happy, as long as I kept the checks coming. It's always been about what I can do for you. Jonas, my dad said again, his voice a little firmer now. This isn't just about money. It's about your family. I clenched my fists. You've never treated me like family. You only cared when I paid the bills, when I was making your lives easier. They sat there in silence, my mom's face red and tears threatening in her eyes. But there was no apology, just guilt, just their expectations that I would fix this, like I always had. I'm done, Mom. I'm done trying to fix everything for everyone. You want to support Claire and her family? You're on your own. Jonas, don't, my mom started, but I wasn't finished. I'm not asking for your approval anymore. I'm not asking for anything from you. I took another breath. I'll pay my share of the gala expenses, and that's it. You can have Claire. You can have everything. But I'm not coming back to fix your mess. And with that, I stood up, walked to the door, and opened it. Get out, I said. There was no more fighting. No more words. They left without another word, Dad looking defeated, Mom on the edge of a breakdown. I closed the door behind them, and for the first time in years, I felt nothing but relief. I didn't have to be the fixer anymore. For once, I wasn't the one holding everything together. I was free. Proceed with Scene 7. Scene 7. The explosive showdown. 500 words. The doorbell rang late the next morning, and I already knew who it was before I even stepped to the door. I didn't bother with a greeting. I just opened it. And there she was, Claire, standing on the other side with that look on her face that said she was ready for a fight. What the hell? Jonas, she demanded, stepping inside without waiting for me to invite her. You can't just disappear and not tell me why. I've been trying to call you. I've been texting you, and now you've ghosted me completely. What happened? I didn't answer right away. I let her talk, knowing she wasn't really interested in my explanation yet. She was just angry. She always was when she didn't get what she wanted. You humiliated me, she spat, crossing her arms over her chest. Do you have any idea what I've been dealing with? Everyone at the gala asking me where you were, and you know what I had to say? That you were stuck in some imaginary work emergency. You could have at least given me the courtesy of a text, Jonas. I just looked at her. Is that really what this is about? I asked quietly. That I didn't show up to the party? You were upset about the gala, weren't you? Her face went from rage to disbelief. What are you talking about? You didn't think I'd notice, huh? I stepped toward her. You didn't think I'd figure out that it wasn't just the event you were mad about. It's everything else. You've been pushing me away for months, Claire. That text with Evan's name? That wasn't a slip-up. That was a warning. Her eyes flickered with something, maybe guilt, but she quickly masked it with defensiveness. Jonas, please, don't do this. You're making this sound like something it's not. I'm not stupid, I snapped. You were making excuses for months. You and him, the late-night texts, the inside jokes I didn't get, the heart emoji, I saw it all. And you thought I wouldn't notice. She stepped back like I'd slapped her. I didn't mean for this to happen, she said, her voice trembling now. I didn't. It's just stress. It's all too much, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Right? I said, my voice tight with anger. You didn't know how to deal with it. So you turned to Evan. He's the one who gets to pick up the pieces when you're upset. Huh? And me? I'm just the guy who writes the checks and plans the events. Jonas, you don't get it, she said, almost pleading. I love you. I do. But I've been overwhelmed, and Evan, he's just a friend. He was there when I needed someone to talk to. That's it. It didn't mean anything. Does he know that? Or is that just something you tell yourself to feel better? I took a step closer. You never gave me the chance to help you, Claire. You never gave me the chance to even be a part of your life the way I thought I was. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she didn't let them fall. This isn't about Evan, she said, her voice breaking. This is about you running away. You won't even let me explain. I don't need an explanation, I said firmly. I'm done. Her face twisted in confusion. Done with what? With me? With us? Yeah, I said, my voice hardening. I'm done with this. I can't keep pretending everything is okay when you don't even know who you are anymore. And I sure as hell can't pretend everything's okay when you're calling me by another man's name. She stared at me, speechless for a moment. Then the tears she'd been holding back finally broke free. You can't just end it like this, Jonas, she sobbed, shaking her head. I need you. I love you. I looked at her, my chest tight. But something in me had already broken, something I couldn't fix anymore. No, Claire, you don't need me. You just need someone to hold things together while you fall apart. And I can't be that anymore. I won't be. I turned and walked out of the room, not looking back. I knew what I had to do. It was time to finally stop fixing everyone else's problems and start living my own life. The next few days felt like I was walking through a fog. Claire didn't contact me again. There were no frantic texts, no desperate phone calls. She seemed to accept what I had said, even though it left a hole in the air between us. And me? I didn't feel guilt. I didn't feel the weight of regret. I felt something I hadn't felt in months, relief. I spent the week at my parents' place, staying in the guest room. It was quiet out here, in the countryside, and I needed the space. No one was chasing me. No one was expecting anything from me. Just open roads and empty days to clear my head. It was on the fourth day, when I was sorting through old boxes in the attic, that I got a call from my mom. Jonas, she said in that calm, controlled tone she always used when things were falling apart. Your father and I have spoken, and we think it's time you come home. I rubbed my forehead. I'm not coming back to you, Mom. I'm done with the games. She sighed heavily. Jonas, we're not asking you to come back. We just wanted to let you know, things have changed with Claire. I listened, trying to stay detached. She called us, asking for help. She's not handling things well. She's been calling here nonstop, trying to explain, trying to fix it. She even went to see your brother. I clenched my fist, biting back the anger. And what did you tell her? We told her she needed to fix this herself, my mom said quietly. But we want you to know she's not in a good place right now. She's worried about the future. I let out a slow breath. She didn't care about the future when she was too busy running to Evan. There was silence on the other end, and for a second, I wondered if my mom would defend her. But she didn't. You're right, she said finally. You're right to be angry. But don't let that anger eat you alive, Jonas. You're too good for that. I sat down on the edge of the old wooden crate I'd been sorting through. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. The conversation lingered there for a moment, heavy and unspoken. I'm proud of you, son, for standing up for yourself. It's about time you stopped being the one holding everything together. It's your turn to breathe now. I could feel the lump in my throat, but I didn't let it show. I'm figuring it out, Mom. Thanks. When I hung up, the house was still. And for the first time in what felt like ages, I wasn't checking my phone. I wasn't wondering who needed me next. I wasn't putting out the next fire. That night, I took a long walk through the woods behind the house, letting the cool evening air wash over me. It felt like the world was finally settling into place. The next morning, I called a moving company to cancel the lease on the apartment Claire and I had shared. The first real decision I'd made for myself in a long time. And it felt good. For the first time in months, I slept through the night. When I woke up, it was to a quiet morning and the thought that maybe, just maybe, I could rebuild my life. The way I wanted it. The way I deserved it. No more fixing other people's problems. It was time to fix my own.